Good morning, Knollwood. We're going to get started in just a minute as some people are still connecting. Sorry, just sat down at my chair a few moments ago. Barely got time to set everything up. So we'll get started in just a minute here as some more people log into view. All right, so I'm going to jump into it. This class on Microsoft Teams tips and tricks number 6 is actually, oh, that rhymes, is actually a class on specifically the process of move-out charges and how they work within the team environment. So last year when we implemented the move-out charges workbook that everybody's currently using, and I know that Phoenix has not been using them yet, but this week we're actually rolling that out. So all Phoenix properties, all Tucson, Nevada, California, entire company DJA, you are going to be using the new move out charges workbooks. And I will be posting the Phoenix version out onto Teams so that everybody can have that file so that they can start doing their move outs in Excel rather than the paper form that you've been doing up to now. So I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on kind of what the plan of today is. It's not going to be a long class. It'll be kind of short. I'm going to try to keep it to about 30 minutes so that we don't overwhelm with too much time away from your office or having to shut down your office or anything like that to be able to be present at this webinar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started explaining the process that we have intended for everybody to adhere to. Though there's a lot of managers that are still not quite getting how the move outs work within the team environment. And we did do a tips and tricks a few weeks ago where someone asked about move outs and how that works, and I went over it kind of in a nutshell. Today I'm going to go over it again, but today is specifically for move out charges. I won't be taking any questions unless they're specifically related to the move out charge process. So nothing non-move out charge related today. But yeah, if you do have any questions, you can always give me a call at any time, or I'm trying to get back to everybody. And I know that there's some people that are actually calling me right now. I'm trying to get to you. It's just there's so much going on. I'm trying to get to all the questions you have. So let's jump straight into it. So I'm going to use as an example one of our properties in my Teams site here. This property is called 232 40th Street. So I'm going to jump into the general folder for that property. Okay, and the files location for that property. This is one of our commercial properties, so we don't really use Teams so much there, but that's why I'm going to use this as an example today. So we're going to go to the move out charges folder. And this is basically where your move out charges live. So this page should basically look like this. This folder, should basically look like this for all of you. Okay. We've had a number of issues and requests from Linda at the front desk and accountants that we really start paying attention and sometimes it comes across a little bit aggressive, and I hope that's not the case. But please pay attention carefully to the way we've asked that you guys maintain the file structure. Okay. Already there's properties that are we're not keeping track of the file folders and structure, and it's becoming really hard to find things. And this is the warning, the very first warning we had at the very beginning when we started this. The entire team's kickoff was we need to adhere to a strict guideline as far as files and storing documents and where they go and how they're named, okay? And how many folders and subfolders we can have before it starts becoming a nightmare to find something. So I want us to really start paying attention to that. And the move out charges was one of those folders that we were very specific on when we rolled out Teams. But still, it seems that some people are doing their own thing. And so we're asking you to stop doing that. Nicely, as Jack says, with a smile on our face. So please pay attention carefully to the document where it shows you the file structure and the naming conventions. Okay, it's very important that we keep track of that and we not add things that we did not ask you to add. Okay, and one of those things is subfolders. Okay, some of our managers have been adding subfolders to this whole process, like per unit. You've been doing a per unit subfolder. So in the estimates folder, for example, this is what I've seen. Some managers have been making a folder for apartment 19, right? I'm going to say it nicely. Do not do that. We ask that we not do that, okay? It becomes really, really hard to keep track of things when everything is inside more and more folders. And I know it might seem like, well, it's on my page and there's too much. Well, that's not necessarily true, because I doubt you're going to be working on 40 move-outs at once, unless you're a super large property. Maybe 500 units, but not the standard size unit 50 to 150 unit property. You're not going to have that many units in a folder at a given time that it be that overcrowded that you can't find within that folder what you're looking for. So please don't create subfolders specifically for units, okay? And this is coming as a warning as well as a request, okay? We've asked and asked and asked, but still people continue to do things that we've asked them not to do. So please be careful and review the Microsoft Teams for DJA file structure that we have there, and adhere to that, and please do your best. And if you don't understand, give me a call. I'll try to get to you and then walk you through. But I mean, I think the Teams trainings that we're doing right now should be more than enough to get us all on track. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. So remember, like I've said, we're gonna go back to our what do they call it, the crumb, the cookie crumb, or whatever they call this thing, going backwards towards our main folder, which is the move out charges folder. So inside the move out charge folder from your general tab, we have estimates sent folder, we have no charge full reimbursement folder, and then we have a master version of our move out workbook. Okay, so the master version, as you can see, this I've started from the very beginning here just to walk you through the basics on this. So the master should be renamed according to your property. Okay, now this is the only time I'm saying renamed. Every other time from now on, it's save as. Okay, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be saving as. Okay, but right now, just the very first time, we're going to rename this file. I'm going to rename it because this is what, if you have a new property, this is what you're going to see. And I'm allowing the managers to rename these properly. So I'm going to rename it according to my property. And I'm going to use my example property, which is GPA, Great Place Apartments. Okay. And then we're going to leave this 0, 0, and then master, I'm just going to get removed California. The reason it has California is because we have 4 different versions of this report, because we have 4 different sections of our company. One's in Phoenix, Tucson, Nevada, and California. So we have to have 4 different versions of this file. So the California version, which is this one here, I'm going to click off that, and then that's my file's name. Okay, this is the master file, so I won't be editing this on a normal basis. First thing I do is I open it, save as, change the name, right? Change the 0 zeros to a unit number, and then master to the last name of the first person on the lease. Okay, and that's the name of my file. Okay, that's the way I'm going to name my move out file, and that's the way I'm going to name my documents file when I scan and upload them into Microsoft Teams. Okay, because we need to have those consistent file namings so that we don't have issues finding things in the future. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and open this file. I'm going to click on the file, and I'm actually going to see it in preview mode here. Okay, and in preview mode, we're not able to do any editing. So in order to edit, we have to press edit. Okay, and so right now I'm editing the master because I want to make it relevant to my property. Okay, but the master is something that after this first initial time stays the same forever. Okay, so give me a moment here. Okay, Great Place Apartments. I'm going to give it 1525. Great Place Road. I'm going to leave the unit blank. I'm going to type in the city, which is beautiful. Okay, beautiful California, and then 90210. That's our example, right? So the name of the property, the address is in there, and then the zip code, and then down here at the bottom we have to type in our property code, GPA. Okay, I've opened on numerous, about 80% of you are not doing this, so please type in your property code here. That was asked when we first started this, and it shows that some managers listen and some don't. So really, please pay attention to all the steps we're asking for. I'm not going through these webinars and taking the extra time out of my day for no reason. What we're asking for, we're actually requiring. So please do that. So in here, GPA. Type that in. The reason for that is because the invoice needs that as a reference number so we can find it in the future if there ever is a piece of a paper hanging around somewhere, and like for instance this invoice, right? That right there, GPA is going to tell us, okay, the property code for that specific property is GPA. Now I can find what property that correlates to. Okay, it might not seem significant to you, but it is. Okay, so please make sure that we're adding those into our master file. Okay, that should already have been in every single file. We have updated the vendor list here in California, and we've updated the new rates that our company is going to be using for in-house labor. It's now 35. Prorations for painting and for floor replacement are both 6 years now, and this has been a few months coming now. We've let you guys know that that's going to be changing soon, and here we are. So I'm going to ask everybody to please discontinue the use of your current master file, and you're going to be using these new master files that I'm going to be uploading into Teams later today, probably right after our webinar today. Okay, so yeah. So this is the file, and this is the steps that most managers are missing right here. Okay, so let's go on now to the invoice to continue the setup of our master file. Okay, the next I'm going to retype the address because I don't know if you remember, we talked about in the previous video, the move out charges video that we posted on YouTube. The address for your property and the address for your units, which is this one, are not always the same. Yeah, they might be, but they're not always the same. In this case, they will be the same. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate that here. I'm just gonna retype it in here. Okay. So 1525. 1525 Great Place Road, and then okay, and then the next section here is the phone number, which is, let's say, 916-123-4567, and then fax number 916-123-4568. And we went over this in the last class. So the email and the website, you know what to type in there. I'm gonna, for time's sake today, because we're getting kind of close, I'm not gonna cover that right now, but you know what to do. The IDSD, we talked about this as well. Unless your office and the place where people pick up or can drop off rent checks is a different location, you leave this alone. So if it is a different location, on the IDSD one, you will change this address here. But that's only if, and that's like 99% of you, that's not the case. There's my 1 or 2 properties where the location, the property address or the office address is not the same place where they can drop off checks or whatever. Okay, just let you know. So this is for when the resident, previous resident wants to reimburse us for any charges that we applied to their security deposit and they owed money. This would be where they would have to edit that address. IDSD2, there's nothing to edit on that one for the master file, and then neither for the rules and procedures. Okay, so there we go. I'm just reviewing the step-by-steps of how to set up the initial master file that you're going to use over and over for when you start a new move out. Okay, so this is not a move out, this is the template that you're going to use to create a new move out. So if someone moves out, you're going to open the master file, and the first thing you're going to do, pause for effect, save as. Okay, the first thing you do on the master file when you're ready to start a new move out charge for a new resident, for a new move out, you're going to do a file save as. Okay, so I'm just going to close this real quick and walk through those steps step by step. I want to make sure that nothing's getting lost in translation here. Okay, so my file's been saved just now, and it has that name, the MO, which means move out, GPA. I know that that's the property code. 00 meaning there's no unit assigned to this, and master means that this is my master template. Okay, now let's say apartment Mr. Smith from apartment number 15 moves out. Okay, and now I need to go in and start a move out charges for this client. Okay, so I'm going to open up my master. I'm going to click edit to start editing the document. And then what is the very first thing that I do? Save as. Okay, the very first thing I do before I start doing anything, I need to save as. Why? Remember, in the team environment, everything we do is saved as soon as you are finished typing it. Okay, so if I start typing in or making any edits to this document right now, it will be saved, and my master will no longer be the master. It'll have other things in it that don't belong there. Okay, so the first thing I do is save as. Okay, when you go to the save as, you click the selection of save as. Do not rename the file. Do not rename the file. Okay, we're going to create a new file. Okay, it says save a copy online, a new copy of that file, and it's going to ask us, okay, what do you want the name of that file to be? So first of all, I'm going to select the unit number. I'm going to type in 15. Okay, and we said that this resident's last name was Smith. Okay, now for those properties that have unique building addresses, we've had this come up actually at a few properties. So make sure that, it's hard to tell. Did I click in the right place? Yeah. So what you're going to do, like let's say if it's, for instance, Palm Garden, 19, I can't remember, or 5419 or something like that. Yeah, 5419 and then dash 15. I need the full address, not the partial address on that. So 5419 dash 15 dash Smith. That is the actual unique identifier of that unit or that specific client. Okay, so but that's a rare case. I'm not going to do that for this time because that's not the case this time. But there are properties that have that, so make sure to keep that in mind. Okay, I think I have a space there. Please keep a dash between the unit number and the last name. Don't add any more names. Don't add the first name. Don't add the, I don't know, the pet's name. I've seen all sorts of things added to this. We need to keep it clean and readily accessible and really easily read, because we've had issues where there's so much information. When there's too much information, it becomes white noise and it becomes really hard to find things. Okay, so that's the name of the file. Save. Okay, and now what's happening? The file is being created, right? The new file is being created. And as you can see here, since I'm working inside Microsoft Teams, the file name has changed. Now, don't be distracted, and I don't know why Teams does this. I'll be honest with you, I don't understand it, why this guy right here at the top doesn't change. So don't let that throw you off. The original thing that we opened was GPA master. But when I did a save as, it created a new file called MoveOutGPA15 Smith. Okay, that's the actual file that we're working on now. Okay, so just remember that even though it says up here at the top 00 master, it's not the actual file we're working on anymore. So what has happened actually for some managers, I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure why this is happening either. When you save as a file like I just did, what it would do, instead of opening to this page, it would open up to a page where it prompts you for your username and password for your Microsoft account. And I'm not sure why it does that, but I've learned a workaround. You can type in your username and password, but I've learned a workaround. Don't do it. Just close it. I know it'll prompt you for your username and password. Just close that and find your file that you just created, for instance, Smith15, or 15 Smith, excuse me, and click on it again, and it will open up fine. I'm not sure why. I think it's a little glitch, one of many, in Microsoft Teams. So yeah, once you close it and open it again, it should open up to the right place. And now you can see now, because I've opened it afresh, the title up here at the top is correct as well now. So okay, so we are inside this document. We're in preview mode. Now we need to open it up so that we can actually start editing it. Okay. So one of the first stages, I don't know, it keeps bringing me back to the invoice page. One of the first things that we need to do when we are starting a new move out, we need to identify the unit, obviously, right? Give it a moment to load. It's taking a second. Okay, so the unit number for this, in this case, we're going to say 15, and then we're going to say Joe Smith. Okay. All right. I'm not going to go through the move out charges and how to apply charges and all that, but I will make a quick charge real quick so we can walk through the estimate to the final and to the collection process, because we've had some confusion on all that recently. Okay, so I'm going to apply a charge here of let's go here, just apply charges of full paint, and our vendor will be Satisfaction. What's nice about this version of the reports, you can actually start typing the S and it'll actually pop up. In Excel, it wouldn't let you do that, so that's a nice thing about this. You can start typing and it'll find within that list the the vendor. All right, so right now I'm not going to type in an estimate sent until I'm actually sending it, right? I'm not typing anything else for now just to save time, but just keep in mind that we obviously would do all that information. Now, I'm going to type in a number here, so I'm going to say, yeah, the painting, I'm going to estimate at 400, okay? And you can see the red box here goes away, and now it's asking me, is this an invoice or is this an estimate? And so I'm going to say estimate, because that's the status at which we're at, okay? And now there's certain charges that get applied, blah, 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 but I also need to put a deposit. So I'm going to put a 500 security deposit, okay? All right, so it's saying here total charges is -100, which means there's a reimbursement of $100 that's going to happen to the resident. So we're going to be giving $100 back to the resident. But that charge at the bottom, don't be confused. That's the total of what's written on this sheet. That's not the actual charges that will happen on the IDSD. Okay, I'm going to skip the invoices for today because there's a move out charges. We can probably do another class just to bring everybody up to date on that later. But on the IDSD 1 down here, you can see that the charge has been applied from the IDSD 2. Okay. And the security deposit, sorry, so here's that charge, okay? It hasn't been prorated because I didn't put a move-in date, so it just assumes a full charge, okay? And then the deposit that was received was 500, and it's saying that there's a, give me a second here, this thing is wigging out. That is very frustrating, where I'm dragging that down and it doesn't want to move. Or right here. There we go. All right, so the reimbursement that's going to go towards the resident is $100. Okay. Now, you don't have to fill in the paid by check number. That Linda does, or the accountant does later. Okay. So let's say right now we'll just leave that blank. Okay. So there we go. I'm going to leave it at that for as far as what charges we're going to put into the system right now, just so we get the idea of the process here. Okay, so there's some type of estimate, and I say, okay, let's say I sent this estimate on 7/1. Okay. All right. Good. Let's close this because remember the file is automatically saved, and so I can put in a conversation saying, hey, Linda, this move out is ready to go, right? Ready for you to process, okay? And she'll go through that process, right? Now, this file is an estimate, okay? So it needs to go in the estimate folder, okay? So we take it, we click the ellipsis here on the end, and we say move, right? And now we're going to select the estimate sent folder because that's where we're going to put this document, okay? So I've selected, and this is right here is the location it's going to go into, okay? Estimate sent. So I'm going to move the file to my estimate sent folder, okay? As long as it's not open on another. It looks like it's probably opened still online or something like that. If you ever do get this error and it does come up, I don't know if you guys saw that at the bottom of my screen here. When I try to move this file, let me try again and see what happens. I know it's really weird. It does this. It's very frustrating. So let's move it to the estimate folder again. So move. And it gives me this thing that says can't move it, right? I don't know why it does that, but I'll show you kind of a workaround for this. So I'm going to open this in SharePoint. I know this is, so we kind of have to go to the online version in order to fix this. Alright, so here's my file, GPA 15 Smith, okay? So I'm going to move this file to my estimates folder, okay? And same process here, click the ellipsis and find move stored, but I'm going to go to the general folder. It's a few extra steps, but it's not complicated. The move out charges, estimate sent folder, okay? And once I've clicked that, I say move here, okay? Because dismiss. Wait, why did it do that? It's so frustrating. Move to, okay. Let's try this again. Move out charges, estimate sent, Okay, so now it's telling you where it's the final destination of that file. Okay, it's going to be the estimates, and I'm going to say move here. Okay, and now what it's going to do, it's going to disappear for here. Oh my goodness, really? Yeah. So this happens. I'm not sure why, guys. I'm getting frustrated with it as well. Let me close this, and the third option here is shut down Teams and try it again and restart it. I don't know why it does this, guys. I really wish Microsoft would fix this problem. I'm so frustrated with all the little glitches inside this software. But I'm going to shut down Teams and give it a second to shut down fully, and I'm going to restart the program. Okay. So Microsoft Teams has restarted. Oh, has it? Actually, it hasn't. Sorry. So just clicking the X does not actually shut down the program. I know, this is crazy. But I'm going to right-click on the taskbar down here at the bottom, go to Task Manager, and force the program to shut down. Okay, because see, it says apps that are still running are Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to end that task and completely restart it. Okay? Alright, so I've completely forced the program to shut down, and I'm restarting it. This happens. I'm not sure what causes it, guys, but be patient with it. I know Microsoft Teams is working on it, but God, we wish that they would move a little faster on that, right? Okay, so app is coming back up. Okay, brought me right back to my location here. So that's the nice thing about Teams. It always brings you back to kind of where you just left. So I'm going to click on that ellipsis for the file. I'm going to say move, send, and I am like 90% sure this will work. So move, and then it will move the. Oh my goodness, really? Alright guys, so it looks like there's just no way to move this file. Your frustrations are my frustrations on Microsoft Teams. So here we are trying to do training, and it's just not letting me do this. I don't understand why, guys. I really wish I did. Gosh, that is so frustrating. So I will try one more thing. I'm not sure if this will work, but I will try desperately. I'm going to edit it, obviously, in Teams. I'm going to see if I can do it from the actual file itself. Let's see if we can do it from here. Will it allow me to move this file? No. So yeah, guys, I'm not sure. Here I am trying to train you guys on how to do this, but I'm having issues with it as well. So if you're having frustrations with Microsoft Teams, we are too. We feel for you. Yeah. All right. So let's try it one more time here. Grab that guy. Let's click. Move to. Okay, let's do this. Current general. Move out charges. Estimate sent. Alright guys, everybody cross your fingers. Hope that this works, okay? Moving. Nope. Doesn't want to do it. So, looks like we ran into an impasse, guys. I've run through every possible scenario on how to move this file. Looks like nothing wants to budge on this right now. I really feel bad. So if you're having issues with moving files, I really don't know. I think the only option at this point is to restart my computer. It's possible. It's getting the file is open somewhere. I don't know how it's doing that. It's very frustrating, I know. But I've tried everything to move the file. So we'll leave it there for today. But basically the idea, guys, is that we want to move the file from here until it's ready and fully ready to be sent as an estimate. Then we move it into the estimates folder. And like I've gone through this before, once the file that would live in the estimate folder, once it's sitting here and you've finalized it, right? It gets moved into the finals sent folder. So yeah, but I can go over one more thing. Even though we're having struggles with this with this guy right now, I want to go over how to change a file from an estimate to a final. Okay, as this has been another issue some managers have had with how to properly work on that file. So there's nobody in California or at our company that cares, I hate to say it that way, about your estimate. Okay, the resident that moved out doesn't care about it. Our company doesn't care about it. The state doesn't care about this estimate. Okay, the estimate is only produced in order for our company to stay in compliance, so that we send something within 21 days, at least as an estimate, so that we don't violate the 21-day law in California, 14-day law in Arizona. Okay. So 21 day in Nevada and California, but 14 days in Arizona. So in order for us to stay in compliance, we send an estimate. But the estimate is just a stage of that file. It's not a final. It's not. We don't need that version. There's nobody that needs that version of the file. Okay. Every estimate must become a final at some point. So nobody cares about that estimate. So we don't need to save it independently. Okay? The file goes through, let me use the word, an evolution. It evolves from an estimate into a final version. Okay? And that's why you'll notice the file, nowhere in the file name here do I say estimate. Okay? Because nobody cares about their estimate. Okay? Everybody, there's a timetable, even with an estimate, that if your estimate hasn't been finalized, as soon as you get your last invoice for that those charges, you must produce a finalized version of that within 2 weeks of that last invoice. Okay, so no, like I said, I'm just repeating this over and over because it's so important. Please do not name your file estimate and save them in an estimate folder and then save a final version of that file in your finals folder. That's not correct. That's not what we asked. And I know there's managers doing that because I've had people come to me, Linda and accountants come to me and tell me, can you please cover this in one of your classes? And I'm covering it today. Please do not save multiple versions of your file. We only need one version that goes internally within itself through an evolution from an estimate to a final version. Okay, so I'm going to show you real quick. Let's pretend that this file exists in the estimate sent folder. So I'm going to open up that file now. I've sent it as an estimate to Linda. They've done reimbursements on it, but now I'm coming back to finalize it because I got invoices. Okay, so I'm opening up the file. Okay, giving it a second to load. And then the file at the top here, we have estimate sent. That's the date when you originally sent the estimate. But now, a few weeks later, let's say 7/15, I come later. Now I'm going to send this file as a final. Okay, it's prompting me saying, hey, you have estimates down below. They need to be changed. So you can't leave it this number as an estimate. So now we're forced to remove the estimate, right? And it's saying, okay, fill in the invoice then. So it's saying in the invoice, I'm going to type in an invoice number, whatever that might be from our vendor, okay? And then those red boxes go away, all right? Now, I can finalize my number. Let's say it was actually 600, okay? All right, so 600 was the actual bill. Let's just say, I don't know, it should never be that high, but let's say it was. One of the things I need to do, one of the first things I need to do is I need to change the, so what happened before, there was a number here in balance due to resident, okay? That number needs to be written up here at top. So it was $100 that we owed the resident, and then the check number was 13 whatever for that, okay? But now, now that I type in that 100, this is very important. From the estimate to the final, you have to type in the number that existed in the estimate. Okay, you have to type in that number, and then you have to go edit in your charges. I kind of did it backwards, but I knew the number. So if you don't know the number, or if it's a really tough number to remember, make sure that your first step is to move the number from your balance due to your previous payment, because this is the payment that came through the estimate. Okay, and so what it does is it adjusts these numbers here, saying that okay, we paid the resident $100 during the phase of an estimate, right? So if we paid the resident $100 during estimate, and then the charges actually turned out to be $600, right? So that means that not only do they owe us $100 from $500, the security deposit, to $600, but also the $100 that we paid them back, right? So now they basically owe us $200. So that's the reason why moving these numbers is very important. This happens a lot, that managers do not type in those numbers. Okay, if you ever did by mistake edit your charges and your IDSD, you didn't move the number from here to here or the number from here to here, what can happen is we won't know what the original was, and then we might actually overpay or underpay a resident. Okay, so if you do have that issue, give me a call. We have the ability to go back to different versions of this report. Probably not from your end, but from our end, we're able to go back to older versions of this file and find the original either balance due to resident or the original balance due to owner, and we can correct that for you. Okay, so just keep in mind that this is the first thing you do when you go from an estimate to a final, is move the number from that you originally estimated, either from balance due to resident or balance due to owner, and move it up to the previous payment or to the original, right? So if it was $200 here, we're going to move it up here. If it was $100 here, we're going to move it up here. Okay, that's it. You just move those things around. Okay. If there's any questions on that, like I said, give me a call and I can walk you guys through that. So yeah, keep that in mind, that when you're first thing you do is you move those guys, right? Then you come back to your charges. Looks like my folders got moved around. Sorry. Then you go back to your charges and you edit the charges from an estimate to a final version. And remember, these things get saved automatically. So that's the first reason why you want to make sure any changes you do are the IDSD 1 first before you do any final charges and adjustments to your charges. Okay. When you close your file, or you can let Linda know or your accountant know that file is ready. Once you're done with that file, in the perfect world where this would actually work, you would ellipsis move, right? And it would be in your estimate folder, and you would just click final, and it would actually move to your finals. Okay. Then you would decide, well, what type of final is it? So it would live in here. Your document would live in here as a final until there's a refund. When it's been refunded, we can move the file into the refunded, or we can, if we've waited for 30 days and the resident has not made any payments, after 30 days, we'll move the file into sent to collections. Let me try it one more time and see if it'll move this file. No, doesn't want to. Yeah, looks like I have to restart my computer. So something in the background is getting stuck in an error state that's causing it to do that. So normally the only solution at this point would be to restart, but I can't do that with you on the line right now. So yeah, so if you have any questions, give me a call. I'm going to look over the questions on YouTube real quick and see if there's anything. Hello, Canyons on Coulter, our new property. Welcome. Please post this new move-out template in the Teams by, yeah. So yes, I will be posting, this is a question from Wahid at Fairway. I'll be posting these move-outs in the DJA properties, and I'll be doing a mention for all the managers, so you know where those new versions are. Okay. Heath, if you wait a minute, it will allow you to move it. I waited. It didn't want to let us go, right? I don't know why. there's little glitches. I know exactly what Heath is talking about moving the file. He was saying to move it um, um, from one folder to the next. But yeah, it looks like it just doesn't want to doesn't want to cooperate. Lasima, what he said, if you wait for a few minutes, it will work. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not. Doesn't want to budge. So I'm gonna just jump into Microsoft Teams real quick and see if there's any questions that might have popped up there. Give me 2 seconds. All right, don't see any questions. So it looks like you guys are good. So if you do guys have anything, remember, give me a call. I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. I know I have a backlog of calls I need to get to right now about some questions that are probably unrelated. But yeah, all right. Have a wonderful day, and give me a call if there's any questions.